Maybe we can begin by talking about how unity came into your life. I mean, were you very young when were you reading Wee Wisdom or anything like that when you were very young, or was it later on that?
No, I think it came in 1972. I had been in London for over 12 years, and I didn't find it in London. But my mother-in-law came to visit, and she was new to Unity. She had been introduced to Unity in Guyana, and she was so excited about it. So that when I went to Guyana in 72, she took me to one of the services, and there I fell in love right away with it, with the movement and the teaching and everything about it. So I spent 8 years in Guyana, and during that time I did attend the Unity Church. When I came back, I joined Ralph Selig's church, and at that time we met at Liberal Hall, which was Charing Cross, and there again I really got interested in the teachings. You know, Ralph did lots of teachings after service, and I got involved with the teaching and the helping and everything else. And that's where it rolled on, from one course to another, and then eventually I was licensed.
What was it about, you said you fell in love with Unity, what was it about Unity that was different from other things that were around?
I did attend the Roman Catholic church, and I found the involvement in the way that my spirit just resonate with the meditation and the silence, you know, going into the silence. I think I was just ready to get that, and it's quite a lot of the hymns was really encouraging for me, because, as you know, in the Roman Catholic Church, they don't sing. They didn't sing at that time, and I enjoyed the singing and also the meditation. So that's what resonated with me at that time. But it grew because using the affirmations, I could have pointed to several changes, you know, changes in the way that I think and the way that I wanted to do things.
You mean you saw changes in your own life?
In my own life, yes.
As you got connected with Unity? And
yes, I got... my favorite author at that time was Catherine Ponder, and her affirmations were so direct, you know, and you didn't have to go very deep, but using them you got the results you needed, because it was really what you wanted and direct to what you wanted, you know. So I started using her affirmations for different things, and I found that things changed.
What about Ralph? I mean, he was obviously a very significant figure, wasn't he, in Unity London, and he did a lot of work.
He was, of course, in charge and the leader at Unity London, but he was very strong on giving classes and doing different various books after church, and his teaching was what was needed for me at that time, because I didn't know anything about the metaphysical bit of the Bible and things like that, and I was really interested in that, and I think getting on with that and doing the books and being a part of the Unity movement as a whole, the kind of just went from one stage to the next. You know, it was just taken as a routine. You know, unity.
And then there came the moment when you wanted to become a minister. Or how did that all happen? Did it happen by chance, or were you sort of thinking deep down, this is really what I want to do?
No, I just wanted to do the books. I wanted to study. I wanted to know all about the teachings of Unity. So I did from one course to the next and one course to the next, and it led to that. And as you completed the different courses, I got first a teacher's certificate, and then I got I went into the program to do the study for the ministry. And even when I was ordained, I didn't think of having a church. I just thought of continuing, just being there and doing what I have to do. Then Ralph became ill. And because I had studied and got qualified at that time, he passed the ministry over to me.
When was that?
2000.
Right.
2000. He became ill, and at first we thought it would just be temporary, but he never really fully recovered after that.
So then you sort of jumped in the breach, as it were, and
he handed over the ministry.
Yeah.
He actually handed over the ministry.
And then once you became there, did it then take hold of you? I mean, did you miss the teaching, or how did you feel about all of that? Because that obviously
at that
came
time
as a
you were
surprise.
giving what you learned. You were then giving out the teaching. You had to teach. You had to do the things that he did. Teach others. And I suppose, being full of the teaching, you were able to give out so much of it. And that was another aspect of unity, because we were invited to share, and to communicate what it is so that others also would find the great truth. So that was interesting, and that I began. I enjoyed that just as much as being taught.
And how would you, taking the 2000, up to nearer to the present, how do you think? How would you describe that sort of development over the last 10 years or so in Unity? Both yourself and Unity London, how do you feel about all that's happened? Obviously a lot's happened, celebration days. I know that's AUL rather than Unity London, but you've been heavily involved, haven't you?
What do I think of the progress? Sometimes, I know for myself my consciousness has expanded, and I'm still very eager to share that with one and all, but in London it is still the challenge of getting into mainstream, getting it as a mainstream teaching. I find that we do get a lot of people coming, but not all at the same time. They are still affiliated to their main church. And this, I think, was because that's the way it was introduced in London. They always encouraged people to come and learn. They didn't tell them come to church, because, as you know, Fillmore didn't want a church. It was a school of Christianity. And therefore, this is why we used to have meetings at 3 p.m., giving people time to go to their churches, their denominational churches, in the morning. And then tea time they come to us after they came to us. But so even now, the people, even the regular ones, they keep saying, "Oh, I went to church," or "I'm going to church," and they never really refer to the unity movement as a church.
I mean, coming back to where we began, which is you and your connection with Unity. We talked about, how you fell in love with it, as you said. I mean, looking back now, you many years, and I know you put a tremendous amount of work in to Unity, and your service to Unity has been amazing over the years. All that you've done in all sorts of different ways. We covered some of those here. But I mean, as you look back on what do you think Unity has meant to you personally, looking back now from where you are? What do you think it's done for you?
I think Unity has given me strength. It has taken me on a road, on a journey that I don't think I with any other kind of teachings I might have got there. It sent me on a search, discipline, and it also, I did get rewarded, I feel, with some of the answers. I think that the reward was good, in the sense that I feel at ease and at peace, and I feel that I've done the best that I could, and I still continue to do the best that I can. And that was the aim, as you get, you give, and I like sharing truth. It's not mine, it's just to use and to share. So, and this is the beauty with ideas, all of us can use it, and it doesn't deplete itself, so it can't be depleted. So all the ideas, if you share it, it can only multiply, and it doesn't ever deplete.
It must be nice when you're in teaching situations to see people, developing their connection with you, and developing their ideas. That must be very rewarding for you.
I think the greatest reward is after a while when a student just would tell you something and say, this has happened. And you say, oh, the light has dawned. The light, you can sense that they're now cracked, they've cracked that barrier, and they've gone into that dimension where it can only get brighter, the light could only get brighter. And that's a beautiful place to lead them to the light. But I'm not saying it's easy, and I'm not saying it happens all the time, but whenever, I think it's like when Jesus said, who do you think that I am? And Peter was able to answer that question, thou art the Christ. He must have felt so relieved that at least one of his disciples got what he was trying to say, or realized who he was. But then the bigger thing is not who he was, it's who you are in relation to him. And he said, you can do all things, the greater things than what I do. Everything that I do, you can do. And that's the realization I like to think, and to hear people saying, I've done this, and I realize, oh, they've got it. Through Christ we can do all things. And that's beautiful.
Thank you, ERLA.